Hollywood shocked because AI is in the game. I don't understand this at all. So this is really interesting, and I'm super. I want to hear, Justin, all of your takes on this from you, being from this industry.
Oh yeah.
So Tilly Norwood is a rising actress with internet buzz, but she's actually an AI creation from Eileen van der Velden, founder of Particle 6 Productions. She hasn't landed a role yet, but she has sparked backlash. In the Heights, Melissa Barrera said, "How gross. Read the room." Like they are very unhappy about this. And I'm like, have you been paying attention to what's going on? But it's like created a big stir in Hollywood that there's actually an AI actress.
Yeah. We have been in our unions, various unions, whether that's SAG-AFTRA or Equity or even the background actors and things like that, have all been fighting this fight, because it's very easy for people now, producers, people in power making the films, to just create background actors and or take a shot of background actors and then utilize them in different movies over and over and over and over and over and over again. So we put guardrails in place for that, but there's no stopping this. This is Pandora's box. It's out. And so while Van der Velden insists that it's Tilly, this person right here,
Tilly Norwood.
Tilly Norwood is not meant to replace.
This is a great stage name, by the way. Well done with picking that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just sweet, cute as button. Like, what could be wrong? Oh wait, she's not supposed to replace actors, but to exist as a piece of art. And I think that's a wonderfully naive thing to say.
Like, oh,
like, sure, yeah.
That's like our kids saying something rude, like "Mom, nice shirt," and I go, "That's not nice. I was just kidding."
Yeah, just joking. Okay. Yeah, just joking. Well,
Sounds
yeah, there's a little bit of truth behind every joke, right? That's what makes them funny in part. So the fact that this is not supposed to replace actors is she's lying to herself. However, there are people in our industry who are in talks with certain companies to partner with them in order to play younger versions of themselves, have younger versions of themselves show up. And so when you take, and I forget the name of the actual movie, but I think it was a Martin Scorsese movie, and it was about a guy who was an enforcer. And I mean, all the names that you can think of in the Scorsese movies were in it, including Joe Pesci. And the point being that, you have Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, who are as old as they are now, but through the power of AI, through the power of great filmmaking, they could play their younger selves, as well as then in real life their older selves, throughout the part of the story. And I think that's really well done. But there is an inherent danger in replacing actors. And the last thing I'll say is that you're never ever going to be able to get a machine to give the kind of spontaneous, real, deep, emotional performances that you can get an actor to do. You can train it to do certain things, but it can only go so far for now.
Well, I mean, and it's like, I don't understand why this is so controversial, because there's been re-engineering of movies from people who died at the end of a movie to bring them into the end of the movie. There's been cartoons forever that we've been drawing characters, creating them. Jessica Rabbit is not a real person, but there's people who have posters of that character on their wall. There's just a voice. Like,
have you been in my room?
I have, and you don't have a poster, but there is so all of that already was in place. And I think instead of saying, no, close Pandora's box, because like it's there, it's about leverage. And the thing is, how can you find ways that work in your space to make it work well? Here's how I'm going to apply it. That there is, in AI, we can create content all day long, right? So we can create posts, we can create video scripts, we can do these things. But people still want to go to an in-person live event and see someone on a stage speak. Why? Because we're craving human connection. So even though there's a different way to create some of the pieces, like just like there'd be a way to fill in a role or have a background actor or something of those sorts, it's still not going to replace actual chemistry, human connection that we can innately feel between real humans. And so while there may be a place for that, just like there's always like the good the good version of the cartoon movie that Disney would put out, and then there'd be like the dollar store version of like the instead of like instead of like Cinderella would be like the princess in the pink dress, and and you'd be like, it's almost right, but it's like it's not quite there. To get the real thing, they're still going to create that. Well, the same thing with your business. If you hand over your entire voice, all of your marketing, all of your messaging to AI, you're going to lose that authentic connection with your audience.
Yeah.
But if you leverage the tools to create speed to market, now you're leveraging in a way that can really help to increase your productivity and profits while still creating that human connection.
Yeah. And we are right now in the AI revolution in the same place that we were in the 90s when it came to the .com revolution. People had heard of the internet. We all knew what it was, but business owners were still like, well, why do I need a website? What's a website going to do for me? And now here we look back on that, and that's laughable, right? We know how big the websites were and still to some extent still are today. I mean, it is what we use even now in order to maybe even get to the services or products that we want to get to. However, in the AI race, in the AI evolution, that's where we're at. People don't see how AI can integrate into their business in order to make processes faster, more reliable, and ultimately help take the business owner, the visionary, the person who is driving the train out of working on the business, rather in the business, so that they can work on the business. There are so many systems and processes that can be easily delegated to AI with guardrails that will increase your profit, increase your productivity, and ultimately let you, the business owner, the visionary, do more of what it is that you do best without having to take on extra people, without having to spend the kind of money, time, and effort required to scale up a team.
Yeah, it's so true. I love it. I'm gonna brag on you for a second. You've taken this over in our company and it is amazing. And one of the things you recently did, I mean, like, this is just be an example. We want to get to know our coaching clients better before we have an event so we can coach them well. And you should explain it. You should put a survey together and say what it does, because I'm going to take a sip of water.
Yeah, no worries. So I put a survey together, and it's no different. The front end of it is no different. The magic sauce happens in the middle. So the front end is like any Google form, any form you can think of, any form service. And it just has the fields where it asks first name, last name, email, business name. And then it starts to go into specific questions about, what is the name of your business? Who do you serve? And what is it that your business does, right? What are the bottlenecks inside your business, and various other questions. And then through a workflow, an AI workflow, I put it into a Google form. So all that stuff gets put into the Google form. So like you would for just basic capturing of information from a potential client or a lead, I gather all that. Now, here's where the magic happens. I then take that information and I put it into a very specific research engine. And I prompted that research engine to then extract from what they have told me very specific information and then spit out a report that helps Kim and I to better understand the needs of our clients, the bottlenecks that they have, the goals and desires that they have, who they are, what they do. So we're basically, in essence, you're just enriching the information. Yes, you can get someone's name. Yes, you can get someone's email. Yes, you can put out a survey, but how do you then take that and put it into an AI situation that then goes out into the internet and finds all of the pieces related to that? Now, you can do it by just doing research or going on to Upwork or Fiverr or something and asking someone to do that for you. Yeah. But again, where we are now, and that's a simple, it is so simple, it's scary to create that workflow, which then enriches information and gives you such an advantage over people who don't have that information. And ultimately what we're going to use that for is when people come into our workshop, we're going to know so much about them, so much about their business, that we'll be able to tailor the workshop to them specifically and to the group as a whole, making us look prescient and also making it easier for them to know, like, trust us, for them to get results, which is obviously very important. But then in the sales conversation at the end, it allows us to do all of that work on the front end so that we know what invitation to make to them at the end, how to make it to them, and the best way to position ourselves in the process.
So good. Okay, so it doesn't change the way that we show up for them. It doesn't change the way we coach them. We're just leveraging the power of AI to empower us to serve them even more. So we're going to serve you even more on our next episode. And we'll see y'all next time for messages that will bring you power, profit, and persuasion.